What's up guys, we're back with another Dragon Ball SH Figuarts review, taking a look at not a figure this time around, but rather a vehicle. We've got BULMA'S motorcycle finally. This is something that I wasn't really expecting to get. It was never on my radar, no pun intended, but at the same time it makes a lot of sense because we got this version and they're going pretty hard with Dragon Ball stuff. And you know what, while we're at it, we might take a look at BULMA as well because I never reviewed her. Now as far as this toy goes, I almost said figure, this toy goes, it is in a very familiar but just different format box for the Dragon Ball line, so it's longer than it is tall. You've got the motorcycle and the little statue Goku there in the window. The big product shot on the front runs down the spine like usual, and then the back of the box showcases all the stuff that this thing does, how it moves, the little accessories that it comes with, and all that good stuff. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull it out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package we've got BULMA'S bike in Figuarts form from Bandai Tamashii Nation. So this thing is interesting because it's not just the bike. This includes parts for the BULMA figure. So we're going to talk about the bike and we're going to talk about that BULMA figure because I've never talked about it before, and it'd be nice to talk about it a little bit here. We have to see how she sits on it, how those parts work, all that good stuff. But before we get started, I do need to mention that this bike was provided by Bluefin for the purposes of review, and I was going to say, let's see how this thing moves around because I always start with articulation, but we will, but at the same time we kind of won't because it doesn't really move around too much. It does have some moving parts, so we'll talk about them, but it's not articulated in the way a figure is articulated, obviously. So to start with, we will pop the kickstand back because it does have a moving kickstand, and it is necessary, if you're not using the included stand that we're going to talk about later, it is necessary to have it because it wants to lean otherwise. It does not sit all that well upright because it's actually on rounded wheels, and those wheels do actually move. They roll around just fine, and you also have a moving front wheel. So, you know, all the handlebars, all of it actually moves. It is turnable. That's about as far as it goes, as far as anything, so you don't have too much in terms of the movement department, but it actually isn't just a little statue. It is a moving, functional bike for all intents and purposes. So if you want to get down there and start doing some zoomies on the ground with your BULMA figure, you can do it by all means. Go for it. So I am really happy with the way it moves. I mean, it's really smooth, it's very seamless, and the kickstand is a great inclusion because it definitely helps. Again, you very much need that when it comes to just keeping it supported. Really, though, this thing is all about the look and the feel and just the overall design. So this is a Capsule Corp item, obviously. It says it right there. But it definitely has that Dragon Ball look and feel. A lot of bubble edges, a lot of rounded edges, so it very much looks like something that is out of the Dragon Ball universe. And I think, just at first glance, I think they did a really solid job with this. It is obviously something that is very much unique in the Dragon Ball Figuarts line. We don't have anything like this really, so it is something different, something new, maybe a hint of things to come when it comes to what they can do with vehicles. Obviously we're getting Frieza's pod down the road at some point, so that's going to be in the same vein. But I think they did a really solid job. The materials on this are also a bit of a surprise because this has die-cast parts. All of the silver that you see right here, this is all die-cast, so it is very heavy. Well, it's not super heavy, but it is very heavy. It definitely has some heft and some weight to it, so it's going to be a presence on your shelf. You know, the kickstand is die-cast metal. All of this sort of chassis right here is die-cast as well, and it feels really good. It's very very sturdy, very rigid. The plastics that we have are not brittle. They aren't in any way something that I feel fragile. They are very, very solid, and they look really good. Everything's really like factory fresh and glossy on this thing, and I'm really happy with the overall design. Again, it very much screams Dragon Ball. You've got some detailing on the control panel in the actual seat there, so on the handlebars. This piece, the dome, is actually removable, so you can take that off if you want. It just sort of pegs in on the front here, and then on the back as well. You do have some tampo work, so you've got some like license plate there. You've got the Capsule 9 logo on there, and there is a decent amount of translucent plastic as well, not just the canopy on this thing, but also like for tail lights, for the brake light back here, for the front turn signals, and then for a headlight. And in that vein, the one thing that this thing might be missing is lights, and that's not really a negative because it definitely would have jacked up the price something crazy, but I think this would be awesome if someone stuck a little LED in that headlamp or something. It would be very cool. But as far as the overall detail on this thing goes, I think it's pretty well done. done. Again, for something that I wasn't really expecting to ever see in the Figuarts line, let alone something that I really thought was truly necessary, it's a pretty cool toy. It actually works really, really well. The design is there, the colors are there, the moving wheels are there. You've got even, kind of softer plastic when it comes to the tires. They really did a good job of making this thing seem like it very much fits in with the Figuarts with Dragon Ball styling, but still being something a little bit special, because it does seem like something that is something more than an actual action figure in this line, a little bit of a bigger presence. And I'm really pleased with just about everything they did here. The little details, to the colors, to the paintwork where it's applied. Sculpting is really well done. And again, the inclusion of die-cast metal on this thing was a big surprise, because I either missed that or just forgot about it, but it was nice to see that, and it definitely gives it a nice added heft and weight that makes it seem like something a little bit more special. Now, as far as accessories goes, there's sort of two different things to talk about. There's the bike's accessories, and then there's the Bulma aspect of it, because, well, Bulma very much has things that are specific to her. And without Bulma, this thing wouldn't be all that exciting, would it? So I've taken the canopy off so we can talk about what she comes with. So Bulma, out of the box, really can't sit on this thing all that well. She sort of can, but it's not perfect. And she can't actually hold the handlebars because she doesn't have the correct set of hands. So that's one thing that's changed here. So we've got a couple different items here. So you have a different skirt piece, so you just pop the figure apart at the waist, and then you put this skirt piece on. So you can see the skirt is kind of ruffled up at her thighs, so she can actually just sit, and nothing is being forced out of the way. And then you can just sort of sit her down in the seat there. So it's perfect. It fits very well. She looks really good on this as far as sizing, just overall stability. Like she's not going anywhere when she's on this thing. I will say that I did have some issues actually getting that skirt piece on. It just didn't seem to work very well for me. Once it's on, it's definitely on, but I did struggle with it for at least a few minutes. And then she comes with a couple of hands. So she comes with a gripping hand for both sides. You've got the gloved hand and the bare hand. She does have one sort of gripping hand in her box to begin with, but she doesn't have two. So she wouldn't be able to hold on to both handlebars. So you can get her to hold the handlebars just fine and sit on the bike. So I do like that. I'm glad they included those pieces. Obviously, it would have been a bit of a challenge without them. So those are some necessary things, but I'm glad they're there. And I think she, again, looks fantastic on this bike. I likely will display this particular Bulma on this bike at all times going forward and leave the other one standing with other figures. Now, this bike does have some other accessories as well. It's not a great deal of stuff, but she does have, it does come with a few things. The first of which that I want to talk about is a replacement for this piece here. So this back part of the seat comes out, and you can pop this little guy on. So you've got a Goku here that can sit on the back. So it's a different piece here. He's actually separate, but he pegs into that seat piece, and then he's holding on to Bulma's waist. His head is articulated, and of course he is screaming his head off because he's losing it because she's driving like a maniac, obviously. So this is really cool. I actually like this quite a bit. It's very reminiscent of like the Yajirobe that came with the Great Ape Vegeta. Some little small piece that accentuates the overall package, because this is likely how I'm going to be displaying this now, well, with the canopy on. But I do think this looks really good. He is in the blue suit, very Dragon Ball-esque, very early Dragon Ball stuff. So I do really like that. Painted really well. And again, he does have some articulation, which I think is pretty cool. And then the rest of this thing is just various components to a stand that it comes with. And it does some interesting things. So we've got, let me pull this out. We'll pop the kickstand down there. And she's got this for her bike. So she has an actual Capsule Corp branded stand, which I really love. And you've got 3 different struts. And you'll see pictures of each one at the end of this video, kind of showing what they do. But you've got a strut that allows you to do a wheelie. So you can kind of rear it up on it like that. And then you've got a strut that is just sort of straight up and down. It's smaller, so it's just sort of hovering, basically right above the stand. Again, you don't need the stand if you want to use the kickstand, but this thing I think makes for good presentation. And then you've got this one here that actually pegs into a different slot on this little stand to make it kind of look like she's drifting, which I think is pretty cool as well. If I can do it correctly, yeah, so you've got this little one here, and then it makes her lean inwards on the bike. There is just a peg hole underneath there in the bottom of the diecast section. So it doesn't have a great deal of accessories overall as far as the complete package, but there are a lot of key components here. There's a lot of different ways to display this bike, the kickstand, the 3 different stands, and then of course you've got all the parts for Bulma that really change everything up. Again, without Bulma on this bike, it's not nearly as cool, and this little guy right here is a huge bonus, a huge selling point for me, because it just sets a nice scene, and he's sculpted well, he's painted really well, and it's all very easy to put together, save for maybe my own personal struggle getting this skirt piece on, but at the end of the day, it really wasn't too difficult. It just took me a bit longer than I expected. So yeah, overall, this thing is pretty snazzy. I do like it quite a bit. Again, it was something that I didn't think we were ever going to get. It was not even on my radar, no pun intended, and it was not something I thought we truly needed in the line, but once you have it in hand, you'll probably be a little bit more excited than you would be otherwise, because it is a really solid piece. The diecast is a nice surprise. The paint is really well done. The colors are really rich and vivid. I like the different materials from the bike itself to the wheels, all the translucent plastic, the various interchangeable parts as far as the stands go, the new stuff for Bulma, the little inclusion of that bonus Goku figurine. It's all a really solid package for something that just is going to stand out on your Dragon Ball shelf. And that's ultimately what it comes down to. This thing is going to be a focal point. It's going to be a bit of an eye catcher alongside everything else in the Dragon Ball subline for sure. So that's going to do it for this look at the SH Figuarts Bulma bike. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And until next time.